Hi, welcome back to Miss Kulala's Mystical Musings. So, this is going to be the first video in a playlist that I'm going to that I'm creating called My Musings, and I wanted to stay true to my channel name and to who I am, and what I do a lot of is musing, theorizing, hypothetically speaking, because I'm entertaining ideas that just kind of pop in my mind, So let me start off with telling you about something that happened to me a few days ago. So I had just read or listened to on Audible the Celestine Prophecies, or Prophecy, by James Redfield, which is a fiction, a book of fiction. And the writer alludes to a transcript or an ancient text that had been written, very, very long time ago. I can't remember. Anyway, and it was discovered in Peru, and it consists of these insights into, like, say, like Earth's evolution and the evolution of humanity, and kind of like where we're going. And so then after listening to that on audio, I wanted to watch the movie. So I found the movie on YouTube and I watched it. So obviously that was in my mind, but I woke up at 2 a.m. the following morning, and I could not get back to sleep. So my mind automatically was going to the Bible. Now, so anyone that knows me knows that I was a student of the Bible. I used to fall asleep on it. I started reading it when I was 14 and thoroughly finished it in my early 20s. And it was constant. It was a constant thing, but I didn't just read it. I was also studying. And along that note, also, I don't have a photographic memory, but I knew when I closed it, I think I was about 23, that I was happy with what I thought it was trying to tell me. So, and now, even though I do not practice Christianity, I believe in God, and I believe He is the source of everything. He is the beginning and the end, and He is from here beyond. So I also believe in the divine Christ consciousness. So Jesus' story is very important to me. So when I woke up in the early morning hours, what was on my mind was that the Old Testament is a testament about God, but it's about a God, a physical God, in a physical communication, an actual voice that was either being conveyed from a bush or from other entities, or an actual communion with God, and so it wasn't here. The voice of God was coming through messengers. It was to me, it was a physical communication, whereas the New Testament is all about the Christ consciousness and Christ saying through me. So He is the Christ consciousness, and you get to the kingdom of heaven, or God source, through our consciousness. And so then I'm thinking about the 144,000, and I'm thinking, okay, that cannot be a literal number. And the reason I don't think it's a literal number is because I know from my own experience that my soul, or my consciousness, is fragmented between these other existences in the universe. It's like I will go to sleep in this 3D form and wake up in someone else's body and know everything about that lifetime. And then whatever is happening at that moment, but I'll know the background. So it's like I'm waking up, but it's still my consciousness. So, okay, I want to stop right there and say something about, for those of us who know that we're neurodivergent, like for myself, I took, my daughter, who is a psychology major, says, like, yeah, Mom, we're all pretty much neurodivergent. She's like, but here, take this test. It's the RAAD, the RAD test. And it's like a preliminary test that says, yeah, maybe you should go get tested. So I took that and I scored a 125. 130 says you're more than likely autistic and you should get tested. So I'm on the spectrum. And so I know, and it kind of explains for me, like when my mind is racing and the words coming out of my mouth are slower than my mind. So I skip words, or, I'm not exactly conveying what I'm thinking. So, that has actually caused some trouble for myself. Anyway, so as I'm conveying these musings and talking about these musings, I might miss some words and I might not say everything that I am thinking, but I'm hoping that you get the idea. So these Miss Kulala's Mystical Musings, the playlist is going to be kind of a few different topics. So the one that I am specifically talking about is about my Christian experience, as far as like where I was and where I am now. And then what I was thinking about was, again, I think that the 144,000, it's specific in the number of souls that were first put here to seed the earth. And then they, are fragmented because of, trying to gain as much information as possible. I think that, like, the secret mystery schools were teaching these type of things. And that, so like for myself, my mission has always been an alchemical transformation. And eventually, in one of these fragmented parts of my consciousness, I will achieve that. I think that's part of why I am and all truth seekers, in my opinion, or knowledge seekers, it's because they were one of those original 144,000. But since we are fragmented in all these other different existences, and time is not linear, that it's happening all at the same time. It's like you go to sleep in one body and you awaken in another. I think that happens to the majority of us. And so going back to the neurodivergent thing, I think that a person that is neurodivergent as versus someone that is atypical, the neuroreceptors that are in their brain look like a branch of a tree, and somebody that is atypical might have a couple branches, and a person that is neurodivergent has way more than one. It looks like a branch with many other branches on it. So these receptors are receiving, and they're kind of, they're fuzzy. They look fuzzy. I actually seen pictures. Maybe I'll show those at the end of what the receptors look like, and as like neurodivergent versus atypical. So, and then being hairy, I'm hairy. Hair is also an extension of ourselves. So a person that is neurodivergent and hairy they're getting a lot of information from the universe. They're very tapped in. And sometimes I think that leads to the sensory overload that, say, a person who is autistic gets sensory overload because they're getting way too much information at one time. So anyway, as I awoke at 2 a.m. and I'm thinking about all this, and I'm thinking about the 144,000 being fragmented, and then God from the Old Testament to the New Testament, it's like, and then the Celestine prophecies. It's like I was thinking there was something that it was alluding to, was that I don't think anymore that I want to leave this physical body to be perfect. It's like the consciousness is not trapped within this physical body. I feel like the actual achievement is the chemical or the alchemical transformation. You know, like the Book of Giants, and when the Essenes are alluding to become an angel-like, you know, to receiving that ethereal light body. It's like that's the process that it's like the end game for me is to become an ethereal light body. So I have to do that within this physical body. So I have to leave judgment and ego behind, which to me that's like, you know, when you are seeking knowledge and truth seeking, you know, if you're reading what someone else has written or they've translated, there's always a possibility of being misled by either their judgment as they're writing it or a mistranslation. So you have to use your own discernment without judgment, without your ego, and listen without all that to get an actual a download or receive something that resonates with you, that would be closer to the truth. And that's going to vary from individual to individual, because I think that every truth, as cliche as it sounds, is our own. Hence, being honest, I find truth in all belief systems or religion, but not one is the truth. So listening without the judgment of the person who wrote it or translated it, including my own, and then weighing it and taking what resonates. So at the end of the Celestine prophecy, they brought heaven on earth. It was heaven on earth, but their bodies were transformed. And I think the reason that I kept seeing the number 144,000 is because we're all linked back to that oversoul, that original soul, you know, that had its first existence on earth, you know. And then we choose to be more than one, or every time say a physical body fails or it dies, or we didn't become an ascended master, then we have that opportunity to do it again. And maybe some people might want to be in more than one body to do that. You know, that comes with the whole, I mean, I don't think there is a death. There's no death, you know, unless we choose it, unless we choose to stop learning. But why would we want to be just a consciousness floating around? It's like, you know, the brain is capable of way more than what we use it for. So, I mean, our bodies were created with the capability that we have not totally tapped into yet. So, you know, I think that there's something to the whole Essenes becoming angel-like. It just, you know, in the Celestine prophecy, they're on a whole different frequency. And I think that happens as the earth evolves, as we evolve, and we can all do it together. And whew, anyway, so, you know, I get up and I'm trying to tell my other half about this, and he was just waking up too, and he was just like, what? I can't even. And I'm just like, he's like, yeah, that's a little bit too much for me at 3:45 in the morning. So I drew a card, and I did pick Peter J. Watt's the Oracle of Anime Mundi, because I feel like he got these, you know, during, you know, some certain times where he was, you know, getting a download from the universe. So he was totally tapped in. You know, shamanistic type downloads, rituals and stuff, you know. Anyway, Watch the video. Watch where I interviewed him, and you'll understand. This particular oracle really resonates with me. I get really profound answers when I seek. And what I drew was the Earth Past card. And the imagery, like the very first thing, it says the concept of time is not easy to divine or to define and is indeed mysterious. Yeah, and then it goes on, you know, to talk about our connection with the divine and education betters you. And Earth Past, the past is a portal. Honoring the past is honoring yourself as well as your ancestors. Anyway, the card spoke volumes to me about everything I had been thinking about. And I'm not done learning, especially as I am in this flesh body. And I'm actually, you know, I want to reach these higher frequencies, this higher vibration. But as long as I let judgment and ego keep me in the lower vibratory frequencies, then, you know, I'm not at that point. Anyway, that was a little bit off the subject there, but I just wanted to, you know, share with you the fact that I had pulled a card on it too. So I think that's really all that I was wanting to share at this moment, because goodness gracious, I could really, I could talk about so much more, and I plan on it. It's going to be part of this playlist. But I, you know, any type of musing that I do, it's all theoretic and hypothetically speaking, because, you know, there's no proof of anything when it comes to the consciousness yet, you know. So it's like where this stuff comes from, I can't prove it to you. I'm just, you know, musing. And that's who I am. It's who I always was, and it's who I always will be. And, you know, trying to discover truth and about my mission. So yeah, so thanks for sharing this time with me, and oh, join me for the next time that I'm musing. And I love you guys. Hi, so I wanted to add this on to the end because I noticed that I kept saying he, and I apologize when I call God he, because I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I don't think God is either or. So female or male. I think that he is absolutely both. And because, you know, I'm not even going to tell you the because, but, you know, like one of the universal principles, the Hermetic principle is, you know, everything is male and female. So I believe that about the source, that he or she is not one or the other. And I wanted to apologize for that. So it comes from being, you know, a major chunk of my life was Christian, so everything was he. So, and I don't believe that the God from the Old Testament is the same as the God from the New Testament, which was kind of a point I was actually trying to make, and then I lost sight of what I was trying to say there, is the Old Testament God has a personality, and I don't think that the source has a personality. I think that we are the personality. So we are the extension of God that has all these other traits, you know, and you know, not the source itself. So, and the Old Testament God, I think, had some pretty crappy intentions at some, you know, some points of the Bible. So there's no way that the source is any of that, in my opinion. So, yeah, source is probably a better term for me to use because it actually conveys more of how I feel about God. And again, I do agree with what I had said in the video about Yeshua, Jesus's testimony, because I believe that that is very important to the alchemical transformation. So, do I believe that the New Testament is accurate in the translation? No. I think that there are holes there too. So, and that's kind of, you know, I've read way more than just the Bible since closing the Bible. And it's, you know, never ending to me. I think some of the most honest and true downloads that I get, or information that I get, is from downloads. So, yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that right there, because I didn't want anybody believing, you know, but I betrayed myself when it comes to calling him he, because of that's exactly, you know, how I was raised. So, and it's still, you know, I'm still a work in progress. So, yeah, but I wanted to make sure that I did address that, and I probably have repeated myself way too many times. So I love you guys, and on that note, wait for the next musing.